70 credits to his name. He's made numerous film and television appearances in such productions as Men in Black 2, Get Smart, Ted, Less Than Perfect, News Radio, Rules of Engagement, Space Force, Archer, B-Movie, Kim Possible, and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, among several others, including multiple video game collaborations. He is most known, however, for his roles as David Puddy in Seinfeld, the title character on The Tick, Joe Swanson in Family Guy, Brock Simpson in The Venture Brothers, Lemony Snicket in A Series of Unfortunate Events, and the ever-so-lovable Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove. Please give a huge, warm Pensacon welcome to Patrick Warburton! You're very welcome. How are you enjoying Pensacon so far?
I love it.
Yeah?
I'm having a great time. You know, we've all been kind of holed up this last year. I love socializing, so great to be back and be able to meet everybody and talk and have fun with the fans and stuff. It's been great. I want to apologize right now because I feel like, you know, doing pictures with the plexiglass and then having the mask on and stuff. I've been a little safer this weekend because I'm going to visit my 84-year-old mother in Destin. She lives in Destin. Mom and Dad moved out here 20 years ago, so I spent some time in Pensacon, love the joint, and especially the best flight museums in the world. But my mother's 84 years old, she's not vaxxed, and she's not going to get vaxxed, and so I've been a little bit cautious, but it's great to be here. So.
It's great to have you. Thank you so much for being in Pensacola and sharing your time with us and all of your experience. So just to get us started, how did you get into acting?
Well, I was always, you know, my mother was an actress, but she stopped acting professionally when she had a family, and so I got to go see her do plays when I was a kid and hang out backstage while she'd be doing some British farce, like See How They Run. And I was a big Jerry Lewis fan. I love Jerry Lewis movies, and I always thought, that's what I want to do. And when I couldn't really get through junior college into any decent university, I knew that I didn't have many options at that point. My father was an orthopedic surgeon. I understand he actually treated some of you here. I met a few of his patients today. I was his only son, and his father was a surgeon, his mother was a nurse, and I know that he had, you know, higher expectations of me. And I was going to junior college and getting all C's and D's in junior college. And he took me to the dean of admissions at USD, University of San Diego, where the dean looked at my paperwork and just said, "You've got to start over." So it was a very quiet car ride home with my dad until I broke the silence with, "Dad, it's okay, I'm going to be an actor." And it was quiet. It was quiet for a while after that. I'm sure he was pleased to hear that. Great. But that's, you know, that was it.
And then you landed a recurring role on Seinfeld, and that seems to blow your career up more. How did you get involved with that?
That was just an audition. At that point I was doing guest spots on TV shows. So the normal route you go is you read for a casting director, and then if they like you, they'll bring you in for the producer calls. At that point I was able to bypass casting sessions and just go into the producer call. So the first room I walked into on Seinfeld was just me, Jerry Seinfeld, and Larry David. And so I had to read for them. And they were laughing, and I thought, well, that went well. This would be great if it worked out. So my wife and I watched the show religiously on Thursday nights. And I remember 2 weeks before that audition, sitting on the couch with my wife watching Michael Richards, who just always made me laugh, and looking at her and saying, "Oh, why can't I be on the show?" And then I got the audition, I got to be on the show. So, and it was just one episode. But they liked that character, and they brought him back, and we did the face painter episode. And then for the next 2 years, I was doing a show called Dave's World on CBS, and Got a couple Days World fans here. The only problem with that is that, you know, Days World was a Friday night show that had very low viewership, and for those 2 years, I was getting calls from Seinfeld asking about availability, and I couldn't do it. But then Days World got canceled, and I crossed paths with Jerry, and then, because we were doing the American Express commercials together where I did the voice of Superman, and that was fun. He said, hey, you want to come on the show in our 9th and final season? And I said, let me see if I can do it. Of course, I said, Jerry, that would be great. So, I did an interview in Australia one time, and I mentioned that I avoided Jerry Seinfeld like the plague. And of course, that's what makes news back in America. Patrick Warburton avoided Jerry Seinfeld like the plague. But the truth of that was that Jerry's a very, very sweet and gracious man and lovely gentleman. But when you were lucky enough to be on that show, what you wanted to do was hit your marks, get your laughs, get out of the way, and then have him say, hey, like that character, bring him back. I knew that if Jerry and I were in a room together, just the two of us, it'd be a mistake. Because I would just say something stupid or put my foot in my mouth and why did I say that? So I just wanted to kind of stay out of his way and hopefully get invited back. Because, stage 9 at CBS Radford, when they were doing Seinfeld, that was hallowed ground. You always wanted to come back if they wanted you. Yeah.
So on the show, you were a huge Devils fan. Are you a Devils fan in real life?
Well, I became one, after that. They had sort of adopted me, and I'd become a mascot there unbeknownst to me, because after that episode, on the Trinitron over the ice, they would show me screaming and yelling, "Go Devils," every game, and then they won the Stanley Cup for the first time ever that year. So I got this call, and they said, hey, we'd love you to come out for opening day for the Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils. You can do anything you want, sing the national anthem, raise the Stanley Cup banner, drop the puck. I go, I'll drop the puck. Let's make it easy. And so I went out there, this is years ago, back in like 97, I guess, 96 or 97. And I met my brother-in-law in New York, and we had a boozy night or two, and then showed up at the game the next day. And they said, they're going to paint my face, obviously, and they said, can we paint the D on your chest? And I go, I think that's a great idea. I don't think I'm going to walk out on that ice and take the jersey off. I'm just going to drop the puck, right? Put the D on your chest. Put the D on my chest. So they paint this D on my chest, and I go, all right, but probably not going to need it. So after a half hour of showing scenes, of their great goals the last year, you got screaming hockey fans or fireworks. I'm standing in the wings, from the cast of Seinfeld, which sounded great to me because I'd done 2 episodes. Like a cast member of Seinfeld, I like that. Everybody's on their feet, and I come walking out on the red carpet, and I drop the puck, and I shake the hands of the team captains, and as I turn around and I'm walking back on the red carpet, I slip, and I almost fall all the way to the ground, but I don't. I miraculously catch myself. And at that point, the whole auditorium, the whole crowd, and that's when I thought to myself, I'm so glad they put that D on my chest. So I slowly stand up and I stare the whole place down. Of course, everybody's curious. The jersey comes off, I've got the D, and then they all go insane. So we have a sportscaster in Los Angeles, Fred Rogan, who does Fred Rogan's greatest hits at the end of the news every night. He goes, greatest recovery. It wasn't some guy making some miraculous catch. Patrick Warburton at the Devils game, he's falling, and then he stops, and then he goes, he couldn't have planned this. It's impossible to plan this. And so I got greatest recovery, and then after the Super Bowl that year, He did Rogan's Heroes Greatest Hits of the Year. And still, greatest recovery. You know, as this thing just got bigger and bigger, I just thought, it's so ridiculous. From one episode of a half-hour TV show came all this, but... that's a special character that we got to do in regards to animation, and get to be a part of that. It's interesting when you do, Disney's very secretive, so they give you 4 pages of the character, you know, and so I wasn't able to see the whole script. I just saw there was an Yzma and a Kronk, and I wasn't even sure what a Kronk was, because it's animated, and I just thought, well, he's a henchman, but he seems reticent. And, you know, and it's some, you know, animation of the character. I didn't think maybe, you know, he was dark or like that. It could have been, that could have been interesting, but my spinach puffs got burned. It's a shame we're not going to have dessert. And that could have been one way to go, but I just thought, oh, make it a little bit sweeter. No. The poison for good stuff, the poison. So that's the direction we went. So but, you know, what I realized was that they can have pages of character description, but they don't know what a character sounds like until they hear it. So, anybody who's interested in doing voiceover work, that was the light bulb or the aha lesson for me, is that I would always look for the right way. And then all of a sudden I realized there isn't a right way. There's a creative way. You know, it doesn't mean not taking direction or being able to do things differently if it's asked of you. But if you bring something in and show them, this is what I think the character sounds like, you know, they might respond, and in this case they did, and that all worked out. But yeah, I mean, so long with so many different things I'd look at, it was always, you know, trying to figure out what the right way is, and then realizing, oh, there isn't a right way, you know, it's a creative way. So that's what I always encourage people to do.
So speaking of Emperor's New Groove and Seinfeld, you have on more than one occasion been cast as, and I say this as respectfully as possible, a well-intentioned meathead. Why do you think that is, and how do you feel about getting cast in those roles?
Well, it's, you know, all of them, you know, seem to be a little bit, you know, I mean, you know, even the Tick for that matter, you know, he's not. He's just unique or different. You know, even Kronk is, you know, is thoughtful, but I think there's like a naivete there, or this or that, and so you got to color them different, because just pure dumb isn't funny. But you know, you can have guys who are just, you know, a little bit clueless or naive, and different aspects of their character, you know, and they're just off a little bit maybe. And that's fun, but yes, I have done a lot of lamish. I mean, Putty did come across pretty much as an adult. Wasn't fun wearing the costume, but I was not going to complain. I figured if that's the cross I have to bear, then so be it, to get the opportunity to step into those shoes, because the Tick's an ingenious character, and that was a great opportunity. They had to, you know, they'd slather my body in 2 tubes of KY jelly to get the suit on. That's how the suit got on every day. And then once the suit was on, it was on for the day. No going potty. That was it.
How much of your own personality do you bring to the roles that you play? All of it.
Well, you know, the Tick was so enthusiastic, so it's fun. So you let that sort of inform you, and then there's just such great dialogue, you know. I mean, it's always fun as the Tick would explain things, you know. There's this one episode where Arthur is just getting fed up because the Tick, you know, just wouldn't tell him who he was, and, you know, the Tick wasn't even really sure pouring its fresh cream over the just picked strawberries. Or then Arthur would get more frustrated. Arthur, I told you, I forget how this would go, but in the house, the white picket fence with a view of the soon-to-be, or something like that. And I just loved it that he just was in a whole other place. I loved it when he asked Arthur, am I cool? Talking about cool. I just wanted to know if he was cool, which is so uncool. Yeah, just very excited. I remember making the grant. Some woman in one of the episodes goes to claim the tick as her husband, and she says, we're married. And of course it's a ruse. The tick doesn't know it. He looks at her and he goes, well, apparently I'm married. Arthur, be well. And then, so she makes these pictures, and she shows them to him to try to convince him that they live together. Here we are at the Eiffel Tower. I fell? No. She goes, here we are at the Grand Canyon. Do you remember that? He says, I remember making the Grand Canyon, but it was also fun, silly, and stupid. And so at the tick, all you got to do is just be enthusiastic and believe everything you say.
Being a seasoned actor with so many credits to your name, are you ever still surprised by anything you come across in your career? Is there anything that still surprises you, or do you feel like you know it all?
No, it's just weird. Since now I just feel like it just is a constant reminder of how old I'm getting. I bumped into Bill Walton the other day, a great basketball player. He said, hey, you did an episode of Dave's World with me years ago. He goes, that was a long time ago. And I go, so. Yeah, but you know, it's fun. You know, it's fun at the cons because people will bring up things that are unique or you forgot about, or you know, maybe nobody's seen in a while, or you haven't even thought about it. That was fun. We brought news radio today. That was a fun experience to do that. Somebody just brought up this little thing I did in Atlanta years ago called Run, Ronnie, Run.
Yes, Jason Alexander every now and then, Jerry Seinfeld, David Spade. Yeah, we went golfing not long ago. He only plays 9 holes, that's all.
Of course.
He's a little bit of a princess. But I love him. Ray's recording this. I love you, Davey. But listen, you're a little spoiled. We played 9 holes, and on a par 5, he got an eagle. He hit his drive down the fairway, then he hit a second shot down the fairway, and then at 111 yards out, he put it in the hole. And he was just so numb. He goes, oh, I got an eagle. Oh, it's on my second one. Like that. And we weren't like writing the score down, but I was keeping it mentally, and he beat me. And my own course. And it was humiliating. So, because let's face it, I mean, you don't look at Davey and think, you know, greatest athlete in the world. But better golfer than me, at least on that day.
All right, we've got a question.
When you're on the Pirates of the Caribbean and you're going by the restaurant, because everybody's very quiet, I always like to yell out, I recommend the beer! Like in a pirate voice. And then Mama kid, gosh, he's gotta do this every time. Every time he's gotta do this. But what was funny was, like, the last time I did it, one of the waiters in the restaurant, shh. Yes, I got shush. Come on, I know you're trying to be a fancy restaurant, but it's Disneyland.
Yeah.
Relax.
Another question?
I don't remember favorite line. There was one really ridiculous episode where Meg had a crush on Joe. And it was really, really awful and funny. Like having dinner together and she's saying really, really inappropriate things. But I did get to work with, I actually got to record that one with the lovely Mila Kunis, which is fun. Because normally we just record by ourselves. And, but it's fun. It's, my parents have hated that show forever. They have wanted me to leave the show forever. Yes. And because they're very, very religious. My father was in the monastery for 3 months. He almost became a monk. And then decided that wasn't his calling. He went into medicine. And Mom went to school with the nuns. And my mom's worse than most of the nuns. She took it to a whole nother level.
Next question.
I have a similar question. What was your favorite line as Brock Sampson?
Oh. I don't know. Maybe somebody wanted to take a knife from him or something. He said, go ahead, take it. Take it. Yeah, yeah. Zeppelin. You gotta love Zeppelin. My problem, see, with the Venture Brothers is half the time I have to ask my boys, what's going on? I only read my stuff. So, but it is a clever show. And if you haven't seen the Venture Brothers, it's been described as like Johnny Quest on acid, or the Hardy Boys wrong. Again, it was one of those things where I didn't get a script. I just got like 4 pages of something, and I looked at it, and of course, reading Family Guy dialogue, you have to ask yourself, is it okay to do this? So, but it's been strange. It's just something that kept growing. You know, we were on for 2 years, and then the show got canceled. And then at the time, the Family Guy DVDs were the highest selling DVDs like in history, which made Fox have to reevaluate and brought the show back. And so here we are, it's like 20 years later, and so it's just been fun for years to be on it, and you know, not without controversy, but I, you know, spent a lot of time apologizing for being on that show. At the same time, I feel like it's really important to have satire in this world where we can all laugh at each other for everything, and the nature of satire is, you know, it's a bit offensive, but that's that thing. So I just would tell my parents, just don't watch the show. Don't watch it.
Spade impersonation you did was hilarious. Are there any other celebrity impersonations you could do, or any you can't do, but ones you want to embarrass somebody by trying for us?
Not really a great impersonator. I think I could do Brad Garrett though a little bit. Hey Raven, Mom's not gonna be very happy. So I know a lot of people like to do their impression of me to me, and which is fun. And I did that impression for Brad one time because we had to do a photo shoot together. And Brad he's 6'9". He's a very tall man. I said, you know, I'm going to do an impression of you. And he's like, let's hear it. And then I did it, and he goes, that's not bad. My friends are such jerks, you know, my buddies. I remember one time I was in a pool hall, and I had done an episode of Designing Women, and they went up to somebody, some girl in the bar, and said, walk up to him and say, hey, I saw you in Designing Women. You were great. She hadn't. And so then she like walks up and goes, oh, you were great in Designing Women. I go, oh, well, thank you, whatever. And then my buddies were all laughing because they set the whole thing up. You guys are jerks. I don't know, you start doing more work, and then people might, you know, notice you from things. Seinfeld certainly was the one that everybody was watching that, you know, back in the day. seems to have had legs since then. But you know, that was probably when I noticed, you know, getting recognized more out in public airports, things like that. You know, Seinfeld in the early days. Nobody recognized me with this mustache, though.
Hey, mustache.
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear you.
Oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But that was a fake mustache. The first real one I've ever had. Well, thank you. I'll take Tom Selleck, Tom Skerritt, Wilford Brimley. No, thank you.
Do you like being anonymous now that you've got the mustache and people aren't recognizing you as much?
Well, you know, listen, I had it this last year, and I haven't even been out much this last year, but I just kind of grew it as a joke with my boys. We all did it over the summer, and then they all shaved theirs, and I kept mine. And I did a little film in Indianapolis in October called The Duel, and added in that, I played this character, Christoph, who owns an antique store, and his niche business is dueling. So he supplies the guns and knives for men who want to duel, which is obviously illegal. And so I thought I might hang on to it for a little bit, just for character stuff, for fun. But I'm not really a mustache guy.
We lost you. There you are.
First, hey Christina. Patrick, first of all, I want to let you know, in case you never figured it out, that a Fernseh kroner is currently worth $5.96 US.
What is?
Do you not remember not being able to figure out what a certain kroner was worth in a cab with Elaine?
Oh! What's that worth?
$5.96 US. The other thing is, yeah, I know you did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but in the last month, we've all found that finally, really, the Seinfeld universe has crossed paths with the MCU, with Julia Louis-Dreyfus showing up on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Would you like to see yourself be more a part of that universe? And if so, what would you want to do in it?
Well, absolutely. I'm not sure what I'd want to do, but it would be fun to do something in Marvel or something, you know, in that universe. Something in the superhero realm. But at this point, I'm a little older and weathered. I'd probably play the military guy. I'm doing that in Space Force. I play the Marine Commandant. Here we go, USMC right there. I'm actually wearing this hat for my boy. My son Shane he's going into the Marines on 9/11. He's going in as a pilot. He's been a pilot since he was 18. And he went to Embry-Riddle, then Spencer C. and graduated American University, and is now going into the Marines.
You use your voice on all of my outgoing emails to say, "Hi, this is Patrick Warburton. Little pig, let me in." Can I get you to do that for me?
I have lots of time. We'll run them all. Oh, is it?
I got you now.
What is it?
Little pig, let me in.
Little pig, let me in.
Thank you.
So I have actually a personal question for you. You mentioned your wife a few questions ago. You guys have been married for about 30 years, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's like 100 years in Hollywood. Do you have any advice for a successful marriage and or family for your fans?
Well, there are always going to be ups and downs, but you know, when you have a partner and a best friend and a soulmate, you always make things work, and so you just you got to always weigh everything out, because there will be challenges in every long relationship. There are going to be challenges and hurdles, and you just got to get to that next stage. And so I recommend that, you look at everything and say, is it worth it? You just, you stick to it. So we're best friends, and we just, love our family, and it does take work. It's all of our lives are different. I have lifelong bachelor buddies. I was talking about some of them today. It's funny because they, sometimes they just don't know what compromise is. When you're married, you got 4 kids. It's just, it's easy. You know what it is to, I always joke. It's fun for me to get a lot of attention because I always say I've got a mean wife and 4 kids at home that keep me humble. And it's a joke because she's not mean, but your family does always keep you level-headed. That's for sure. But it's it's a lot of it's good fortune. We have 4 great young adults now that none of them put us through the hell that I put my parents through. I like to say it's all just good parenting, but it's not, because they're great parents and have kids that just go off the rails, But we've had 4 amazing kids that have all done very well and not put us through hell.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, where's our next question?
So you've done a lot of voice acting for productions with wildly different creative process styles. And I'd just like to know some of the ways in which the various productions you've been involved with for voice acting differ, and what your favorite workflows are when you come into it as a voice actor.
So are you talking about just as in regards to entertainment, or like?
The way that they do the voice recording process, the way that they bring you into it.
Okay.
And the way that they, do it and then bring you back for revoice or whatever.
Well, sometimes when you come back in, you might be able to improvise a little bit and do some different things, because you can think about it and say, this is a good idea. Usually when you go in initially, you're mostly doing everything that's on the page. Sometimes you walk away and you get an idea, and then you can bring that, but you're always like by yourself in a voiceover room. So that makes almost every experience very similar in regards to doing voiceover work, because you just got to go in and then kick into a gear. That's why you drink a lot of coffee, because you're sometimes in a sort of a cold, isolated booth by yourself. For, was it TPK or whatever, or EPK, electronic press kit, this and that. They'll put a cast in a room, voicing something together. Some shows they do that, they'll voice everybody together, but usually you're voicing by yourself because they can't schedule everybody together. And you have to bring an energy to it, because it all plays out in your voice. So whether you're feeling it or not, you gotta, you have to get enthusiastic and liven it up.